Hello Internet, this is Tofu speaking. And wow, we're actually at the end of February. That's pretty cool. Because we've been past the month of the idols and the super limited units, and now we're going back to school. Yeah, COVID is now over. Now everyone's going back to school. Wait a second, isn't that like 3 months ago? 4 months ago? Well, whatever, we're going back to school. And speaking of going back to school, we actually have a new event that features the actually students of this universe. Saint Teresia Girls Academy Friendship Club, I think it is called. I just call it Nakayoshibu because like everybody calls it Nakayoshibu. Friendship Club, who knows? What I do know is they are clearly Kimura-san's favorite gang because, well, they pretty much get featured in everything. Like in the in as the Chiero plushie in almost every online stream that they participated in, and also as part of the online stage thing, whatever they showed up instead of like other clans, not clans, other guilds, and well, you probably know already the legend of that emote girl. And although this month isn't particularly exciting because two permanent units and no welfares, this event is just dripping with that Kimura energy, that Nakayoshibu energy. Everybody knows about this, and they want to be part of it. One part beta and one part literally just being the mascot, of course. And speaking of mascots, there will be a new world after a 1 month hiatus that is last month. So finally we will get level 160 and rank 65. As you remember, if it's rank X/5, it's usually an armor piece, so you want to be careful for your supports to not rank up past that. And for DPS, maybe DPS want the armor, it depends on the situation. And you just take more gems because you clear more worlds and whatnot. So first I'm going to start with the new 6-star of the month. Yeah, that's one. Apparently 3 6-stars last month and 2 ultra limited units. That is basically enough to justify no new world. But well, who am I to know? I'm not Cygames or anyone affiliated with Cygames in any manner related to Princess Connect. So I can't be bothered to ask why. And we're pretty much only like 45 years behind schedule anyway. So I'm going to just start with the new 6-star of the month. Which is the sole reason why we don't have the 765 production collab with Iron Master. If you recall, we don't get Haruka or Aya, and we get new generation girls, and that is for a very good reason. It's because the new 6-star is Hatsune, and if you remember, Hatsune's voice actor is the same as Shimamura Uzuki. So might as well just Cygames cut the cost and just have her back to record Hatsune's lines as well. And did the lines justice as well, because actually Hatsune's 6-star story is pretty good if you play the Japanese server and you have Google Lens or you have a translation or you watch the translated video. The 6-star for Hatsune, the Bond 8 to 12, 9 to 12, sorry, it's actually pretty good. But I won't spoil anything for you. I'm just gonna actually spoil about what she's going to do, because Hatsune 6-star is going to spell the death for many 6-star or 5-star traditional physical supports that you know and love. Something like Kokoro, for example, would be completely shafted because of Hatsune. For example, in Magic Team, Kokoro is going to completely die. The only one that survives are the physical units that stand up to the test of time. Something like Pekorin maybe, and Yukari, for example. Yukari is going to slip away, and perhaps Kuka to an extent, but I think the first one will be killed by Hatsune either way. The real kicker for Hatsune 6-star is that Yubi gets a significant upgrade. It's not just like double the damage or like have one extra layer of effect or like do something else, something like Kokoro 6-star, but it kinda is a mix of the two. It is still Hatsune. If you remember, Hatsune has added damage against physical enemies, but this time Hatsune has more clicks of her shooting meteor. Her shooting meteor is now in full AoE, global AoE range, magic AoE attack, but it also has extra damage against physical enemies. It has a 6-second stun, and it has extra smash damage whenever it lands towards the enemy. However, this does not count as a secondary source of damage instance, which means that even if we are forcing Hatsune to break the lock barrier, she has almost no ways to do so because of her very low base damage. Hatsune is pretty much just a base PvP attacker, just a basic PvP attacker that is meant to kill fish, and she did a pretty good job at it. That the next couple months is actually kind of dedicated to stop Hatsune in its tracks. Something like Mifuyu, something like Tamaki. Tamaki especially would probably be the best check for Hatsune, but Tamaki won't come up until the next 2 months after she arrives, which means that Hatsune has about 2 to 3 months of complete meta dominance in PvP at least, in Battle Arena at least. This turns Hatsune from what is at her worst is an anti-Halloween Shinobu attack. If you remember when Halloween Shinobu is really annoying and when her UE drop, Hatsune is often used just to stun Shinobu because back then we don't have Nearest Ray and Kuka is unable to block Hatsune's first stun, which allows Hatsune to completely kill Kuka and Halloween Shinobu live. But now this time she actually can eat everyone live because of her damage from the UB. However, this does come a bit of a downside, in which case Hatsune still have her problems, which is she doesn't actually deal a lot of damage outside of physical, but even outside of physical, when you like in Princess Arena and you kind of have like wrong matchup, for example you go against EO teams or against Kyaru teams, for example, God bless people who still play Kyaru or Hatsune meta, you don't actually get the extra damage from the UB because you're a magic unit, but still the extra stun and the splash damage still applies to the target that she hits with the meteor, which allows Hatsune to be at least the crowd control source for her team, as well as being a really nice secondary DPS. I'm actually pretty interested to see what kind of weird brews I can make with Ram, especially because Ram is also one of the units that benefits a lot from an AoE stun skill like this because of her skill 1 and her UB, which punishes enemies that are stunned. I think it would make a very nice combo for attack as well as some forms of defense as well. However, Hatsune might have some cracks. If I recall, I can think there is a big knack. The problem maybe with Hatsune is that she's kind of one-dimensional, but again, most DPS are kind of one-dimensional, so it doesn't really take into a huge problem generally, because you know what she's going to do, and if you got into a wrong matchup on her, especially on BA, you're probably gonna die anyway, so it doesn't really matter, and what's. But all of that issues is not enough to stop Hatsune Kanan from being one of the most terrifying arena team comms for the foreseeable future, even after like her damage is nerfed because of power creep. The utility that she brings is still very powerful, especially in stopping physical from completely destroying the meta. We have seen like Hiyori just killing people left and right, and now Hatsune is pretty much doing the same thing, but for almost anyone. As we don't have new worlds last month, we too don't have new unique equipments last month. But fret not, this month we will also get new unique equipments, and that is for the Monastery trio, since last year they also come out around this time. So I'm going to start with what I feel has the best UE out of the bunch, and it's Ana. Ana's UE literally gives her skill 1 something else to do, and something really important to do. It improves her action speed by 125% one time if she has the counter, but most importantly, if she has the buff for her skill 1, which is Princess Calling, she will give 100 TP to all allies which are affected by Princess Calling, which she uses when she uses her UB. This allows Ana, in pairing with a very strong action speed buffer like Yui or Monica, to just infinitely charge TP every time she uses this skill. For the action speed, she only applies it once. After she applies the action speed once, she will just turn into a TP buffer, which turns her into a sort of Kuzuki, but it's actually pretty useful because unlike Uzuki, Ana actually plays for magic. This makes Ana a very strong support for magic teams such as for PvP, she can buff Hatsune and Io, and for CB she can buff Nyaru and she can buff Summer Kyaru and whatnot, while still maintaining that really juicy Yubi as well as Princess Calling buff, which magic teams certainly would like to appreciate. This also makes Ana a pretty good PvP beater and support because of her pretty nice UV damage, and also the fact that she just charges TP almost every other action. This brings Ana back into relevance as a DPS/support hybrid until the release of Nier Seneca at the end of the year. However, it should be mentioned that Ana's build might have to be kept low for CB, mine at least is still 3-star, because of the fact that she is again used as well in CB as I mentioned earlier as a Nyaru support and whatnot, but that also means that you pretty much can't use like low build Ana on defense because you might get destroyed by Hiyori and Rino, so there's that as well. Even with the help of Hatsune, that doesn't actually do shit. For Greya, it actually gives her Dragon Inferno, her skill 1, a shift focus cleave, something like Summer Mifuyu and Original Mimi, but the difference between those two is that A, this one hits for magic damage, and B, when she casts this skill, she has a pretty meaningful, if kind of short, 2.5 to 3 second duration of invincibility when she uses the skill. And her action lineup, if you don't remember, is Dragon Agni, her skill 2, and then her Dragon Inferno, her skill 1. So she casts a dot a burning field that deals 100 damage every second, and then she immediately follows up with a targeting cleave. Since Greya is the first shift focus cleaver for magic units and is probably the only shift focus magic cleaver for like almost the entire game, since magic units have pretty much decided that if they're going to be AoE, they're going to become Princess Yui, and they're going to look the entire board from the global range. Greya comes with a very good, or if not straight up wonderful utility of being kind of bulky for mage. She kind of has to be bulky because she is competing with Iria when she started appearing in the game, and having a shift focus cleave in skill 1 allows her position to be kind of liberal because that means she can be in position 1 or she can be in position 5 and support for more offensive physical teams that does require a bit of magic damage. For example, something like Magical Girl Kasumi, Greya can sit in the back because she doesn't really care if she gets her Dragon's Acne cancelled, but her Inferno is something that can annoy a lot of people. So she can support Christina, she can support Blaze, she can support Kanaki, or she can be in the front position and support Io as well as Hatsune with the help of Luna and whatnot. In the coming months, she can also function as a Princess Yumi friend as well. She adds some extra flavor to both Io's stall and Kasumi beatdown, and should be something that you might want to consider in your defense or in your offense for the coming months. However, since Greya has a pretty low stat even for magic units, she might have a shorter shelf life that you might expect, as well as not many people might have Gigamax Greya out of the people that like already got pretty broken by Greya previously and has like a ton of shards, or they just hard farm Greya, which is probably not a very good proposition, or most people probably won't like to hard farm Greya. And it might skew her UE usage down from like really good into something like just okay, because not a lot of people are actually using Greya UE because of how short her shelf life is, and not a lot of people actually having Gigamax Greya that takes advantage of this UE by a country mile, especially since the UE also gives her a TP boost stat. And the last one we get is for Lu, and Lu pretty much on Mr. Gawker's attack, I believe that's a skill. Skill 1, it gives her a front magic attack. That's it. This is very useful if you can loop in PvP, but sadly because you can't loop in PvP, then you can't use this. I'm sorry if I can't put anything more than this. I'm really sorry if that joke did come out as bland and unfunny. It's because this UE doesn't really do anything. Even the stats is just magic attack and magic crit rate. Like, it doesn't do anything for Lu. I'm sorry, but Vikings, this is just the absolute slander for Lu. Like, what the hell? She doesn't do anything bad, she doesn't do anything wrong, but she just gets the complete shaft. Most welfares, like, for now, have really crazy, like, UE, something like Haru Miyako had a crazy UE. Yuri's Ray had a really good UE, still see use until now, and in the future as well when she need her very fast taunt. But this one, I see absolutely no use. There's nothing that changes her playstyle. Even I don't know what her playstyle is. Actually, that's kind of good because Blue is a welfare, and most people would expect welfare to be like kind of playable. But then again, we have Pio Honda, so maybe not so much. And so we finally arrive at the meat of the matter, and that is what does this new Nakayoshi do? And a pretty simple answer is one is really strong and one is really weak. So let's actually again start with what is pretty much the best Nakayoshi hero. 3, and that is Yuni. There's only one sentence that describes Yuni, is that, do you not like magical girls, Yuri? Do you not want to break your Christmas sticker because you're hardcore loop? You can have to keep your chicken icebox or low CB ranks so you can loop and flex to your friends about your high scores and whatnot. And, well, this is where Yuni comes in. Yuni basically replaces Christmas sticker Yuni's role, which she giga buffs the ally with the highest physical attack stat and provides them with more physical attack, as well as more physical crit rate and higher physical crit damage, and as well as her skill 2 providing some sort of magic barrier that is equivalent to a 5-star Yukari barrier, which allows her to block CB traits that would naturally be a hindrance over physical teams such as Prisma Hand, like the CB boss tree that we are facing now, as well as other bosses in the future. This changes basically the entire arena landscape. Yuni basically allows Hiyori, at the time being, the ability to basically go almost guaranteed crit on all her UB and all her attacks, as well as Rino and Rino. Rino especially. Yuni is a very core component of the beatdown strategy, and of course, you can't talk about this, and you can't talk about Yuni, even after she's like already been phased out in sort of like the higher tiers of arena with the introduction of more stallier, more stun components of same teams. Yuni also later will get a strong UE that basically enhances the buff skills because the buff skills are skill 1 and also increases her action speed, which allows her to buff more and buff harder. This basically means that Yuni is never going to fall off the meta even if she herself is not the best choice for a team, because in PA you will certainly require this Yuni even with the introduction of her school festival version, which is also a busted version. I don't know who made this girl, but clearly someone at Games is a really good fan of Miko Haru. Of course, a fan of Arona, you couldn't expect anything else. The problem of course is because Yuni is a permanent unit, you might be able to get tempted to skip this fan. Even though she is a great unit, she's not exactly a must-have as you're that shitter on arena that makes YouTube videos for a living and annoys arena mafia members to no end. Might be tempted to skip Yuni and sack her in, say, Princess Kokoro banner, or in Princess Yui banner, or in the Labuster banner, or any banner that you probably plan to hit later on. And we finally come to the second member that is this one, and that is the emote girl. I have no idea who her real name is, but I'm pretty sure that everybody knows the emote of this girl, so I probably would just call her emote girl for this video. So the emote girl here uses her own emote girl counters, which is basically a self-buff version of those debuffs thing, like the cower thing. Is it called cower? Yeah, it was cower for Chloe, and for emote girl it's like emote girl counters. It adds after every action that she provides, and this counter gives her higher crit chance the more it stacks. However, the main skill that uses these counters, which is skill 1, is her action 1, which means that she's pretty much not gonna be able to abuse the full potential of this skill or her damage in total. However, her Union Burst does scale with the crits with the amount of emote girl counters that emote girl does stack, so it's perfectly fine to still keep racking up those very important emote girl counters and being a for a class means that she gets her high PP stats that offers to Yubi more often and Yubi frequently. She also has a pretty good PvE that allows her to be independent of action speed buffers such as Yui and Monica and allows her to get hits even faster. And of course her VA is Ayane Sakura, who of course is a very fan favorite voice actor. I mean, if you're from Angeline, you know about Prince Eugen. I really forget. I guess a lot of anime, so I'm pretty sure you already know who she is or who she is, so I don't need to explain Emote Girl any further. The only problem with Emote Girl is that Emote Girl here has kind of low base attack for a CB unit, for what was specifically a CB unit. I guess this is in lore with like the Nakayoshi Shibu as a whole. Chloe is the debuffer with the power stats, and Yumi is the buffer that buffs Emote Girl, and Emote Girl is going to be the main DPS of the entire guild. In lore it makes sense, but in the game you don't really have guilds like this. Like for example, like you have to use Emote Girl, or you have to use Chloe, or you have to use Uni, and it's for like a particular match, like say the Kaiser raids or the Ryoko raids, for example. And you don't really have that much option. And even when they play, you don't really use Emote Girl for that because of the pathetic basic. So I guess you kind of is a free skip. This banner is a free skip for people who want to save for basic Kokoro, because I don't see anyone actually pulling for Emote Girl unless they really like Emote Girl, or they are her VA simp, or they just want to flex on their profile picture that they have the and that should be it from me. There shouldn't be any other new content that isn't like Luna Tower or like Phoebe or whatnot. And for the love of God, side games, please give this Chloe out I date from you, please. Please make Chloe actually good again. Sometimes Chloe isn't enough. I need something that's better, because Chloe deserves it. And well, I think everybody wants a good Chloe once in a while, right? Because Chloe is a fan favorite. I think that's enough for me. This is Tofu signing